The Boston Celtics are falling apart in front of our own eyes, but to be honest, we should have saw this coming. The Heat just won game 2, which means they're up 2-0 in the series, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good for Boston. I saw this like ESPN predictions thing, which by the way, whoever is making these templates, yo, they need to be fired, because they predicted Boston to have a 97% chance of winning the series, which I thought 97% was a crazy number, especially when the Heat have Jimmy Butler, which we're definitely gonna get into. Regardless, I thought this was going to be a good series, but as of right now, the Heat are only 2 games away from making the NBA Finals in what's been a very weird postseason. Now, before I even get into any of the other topics, I need to give a congratulations to Grant Williams. Grant Williams, congratulations on not getting a bag this year and more than likely being sent to China. Not only did this man piss off Jimmy Butler, which is one of the guys you don't piss off, not only has this man multiple times sold in a game, but he's just not that good, to be honest. Mind you, this is coming from the same guy that made a dedicated video to him about a year ago. Regardless of all that, I feel like we have to talk about Jimmy Butler before I just go in on the Celtics. Jimmy Butler is a talented player, and it's something about the playoffs that gets this man going. It's similar to Jamal Murray. They're 2 different players in the postseason. I feel like in the regular season, if Jimmy Butler wanted to, he could average like 25 to 28 points per game. However, he chooses not to do that, and he decides to save his energy for the postseason. I mean, there were some people trying to say that playoff Jimmy was not a real thing, but I think we're all starting to learn that this is 100% a real thing. Now, I can't give all the credit to Jimmy Butler for this game, as he did play well, but we gotta talk about Cody Martin real quick. This man, Cody Martin, played amazing. He had 25 points, and he was one of the reasons why Miami was so dominant. I feel like there are certain players that can just go off at a random time, and Cody Martin, he had the one game when they needed it the most. I mean, I didn't want to pretend like Jimmy Butler was the only reason they won, because Cody Martin definitely had a part of it. But do you guys remember this play where Grant Williams essentially decided to piss off Jimmy Butler?
The grind, the gyration, and the 2 in the foul.
And they're having wars. Look at this.
Nose to nose, eye to eye.
I swear, this man Jimmy Butler is only becoming greater and greater by the day. I think it also proves the theory that Jimmy Butler might be Michael Jordan's son, but that is a whole other conversation we can have. Now, real quick, I want to talk about a narrative that I've been seeing on Twitter and just overall in the NBA in general. The narrative is that if the Heat win this series and the Nuggets win this series, a Nuggets versus Heat finals is going to be terrible for the NBA. In fact, there's a whole argument going on right now about if this should happen or just a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. Like, people are genuinely mad because it's gonna mess up the ratings. First of all, I thought this was a complete joke. Like, I thought people were just messing around, like, you know, talking about script writers, because obviously that's not a real thing. At least I don't think so. Look, all I'm gonna say is that if you genuinely don't want this NBA Finals to happen because of ratings, you're a fucking loser. Like, the Heat are actually playing really good basketball, and the Celtics have not been doing just that. In fact, you know, we gotta talk about the Celtics. I thought round 1 versus the Hawks should have been a warning sign to everyone, like, hey, by the way, this team might not be as good as we think. But then they beat the Sixers in a very weird series. A series where we questioned Jason Tatum whether he was actually that good in the postseason. There were games where he was either really good or really bad, but he was consistently bad in the first like 3 quarters. And in the 4th quarter, he would turn it up. It was weird. He either looked like prime Anthony Bennett, and I'm not talking about the good one, or this man looked like Kobe, the guy that I think he's tried to emulate in the past. Like, I think Celtics fans did not really know which version they were going to get each night. Sometimes good, sometimes it would be bad. But luckily for the Celtics, the Sixers were in their own little meltdown, so it was just perfect timing for them. Anyways, the Celtics would go on to win in 7 games, but then we got to this series, one where I didn't know why people kept saying it was going to be a blowout. Miami had played some pretty good basketball versus some pretty solid teams, so I don't know why people were actually doubting that Miami could win this series. In fact, I predicted like literally a month ago or right before the playoffs started that Miami would be a dangerous team, and I got laughed at saying that there was no way Miami could do that. And no, I'm not on my LeCap James shit. I mean, I actually have proof that I said this. Let's roll the clip.
Boston, Miami. Boston, right? Boston?
Boston, yeah.
Miami in 7. I'm telling you, and I don't know why. Every now and then, Miami just loves to reappear as this crazy playoff team, and it works. Now listen, I don't think this series is over just yet. I'd be lying if I thought that. I've said this about every single series in the playoffs so far, but it is a 7-game series. And with 2 of the series right now left being 2-0, that being the Nuggets and Lakers, and now Heat and Celtics, I expect some crazy shit to happen in one of those series. However, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I think the Lakers could do better than what the Celtics Celtics are providing right now. While the Celtics have a better team, Joe Mazzulla might not be the guy. I'm not gonna blame him for everything, but he might not be the guy. But honestly, it'd be disingenuous if I just blamed the Celtics for everything. I feel like Miami is just playing like the better team. I can't promise you that they're the better team like on paper, but the way they're playing, they might just be the better team. And that's a reality I don't think any of us thought. In the NBA this year, I think we all thought it was either the Celtics or the Bucks. Those were the two best teams. And on paper, you could argue it was the Celtics. But paper sometimes can lie, and Miami is playing like the better team. Now, there is a possible chance I don't talk about this series until the end of it because that's just how I make my videos. So I kind of want to talk about the possibility of how the series could end. I don't see a situation where Boston gets swept. It doesn't matter what team they're playing, I feel like Boston is still going to put up a fight. And I do believe they're going to win a game or two, and maybe this could go to 7. But Boston's going to have to fix some things up, and we got to look at that right now. I think for starters, and this is a pretty simple thing, but the Celtics need to stop giving up damn leads. I don't know what it is, but the Boston Celtics love to just choke leads, and tonight was no exception. Boston loves to just choke the lead for no reason, and it's been one of the reasons why people are so scared for this team. The problem with the Celtics is they're not consistent throughout the entire game, which that might have worked on certain teams. With a team like the Heat that are so advanced, especially with a great coach like Eric Spoelstra at the head of them, it's eventually just not going to work out for you, and simple stuff in your offense will get exposed by the Miami Heat defense. I mean, the pick and roll game, that was just something that the Heat completely eliminated. And holy shit, I haven't even talked about the fact that Jason Tatum made 0 field goals in the 4th quarter. And it wasn't just in this game, by the way, this was in the other game as well. I don't need to tell you that the superstar player of the team not being able to score the ball in the most important time of the game, how bad that is. And look, we could go around blaming Marcus Smart and Al Horford for the struggles of the Celtics, but at the end of the day, Jason Tatum is the best player on this team. At least that's what I've been told. Nah, but all jokes aside, he is the best player on this team. And shouldn't superstar players be able to score in the 4th quarter? Now, I will give him some credit because some of his possessions were able to end in an assist or maybe just flowing the offense. But I'm also not going to deny that Jason Tatum has not been clutch besides one game in a Game 7 matchup versus the Sixers. That was undisputably the one matchup where I was like, damn, Jason Tatum, you shut me up. But I'm not going to lie, if Tatum keeps playing like this and the Heat beat the Celtics and Tatum completely folds like he has been, I'm sorry to say this, but as B-Souls would say, uncomfortable conversations need to be had. Look, we went in on Joel Embiid, we went in on KD, and now we're going to do the same to Tatum if this man does not show up. However, maybe, and just maybe, I'm overreacting. Maybe it's just 2 games. Maybe Joe Mazzulla is going to come back with a game plan and he's going to look at this and he's going to say, okay, here's what we can do to fix our problems. And maybe the Celtics can win 2 straight. And maybe this could just be a very interesting series. That or Michael Jordan's son, Jimmy Butler, is going to fucking annihilate the Celtics like he's done. But listen, let me tell you who actually shows up when it means the most. My podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we just released episode 3 on the Starting 5 show. If you guys want to check it out, the video is on the screen right here. And don't ever, and I mean ever, try to say that Jason Tatum is better than Devin Booker. Okay, well, now time to see how many Celtics fans I managed to piss off.